Hello, Taurus. Welcome back. Okay, welcome back, Taurus. This is your weekly reading for September 7th. I can hardly believe it. We're in September already. It's my favorite season. I'm excited. So let me shuffle a little bit and chat with you. We have Mercury retrograde coming up at the end of this month. And as I was saying to the other two signs, this one plays a little rough. So it comes in sweet at the beginning of the month. Hi, Brad. But now I was listening to Nightlight Astrology. If any of you follow him, he's phenomenal. He has a very articulate way of explaining with, not a lot of sky is falling kind of mentality, but he talks about astrology as being, like, I like to use the analogy of a weather report. So you can say like, oh, well, because he's talking about fault lines in relationships showing themselves that they'll crack if you don't have a good foundation with people. So if you know this going in 3 weeks in advance, well, you have this opportunity to work on your foundations before you allow it all to go to shit. Or that you can look and wait for these challenges and deal with them a little bit more gracefully. I am going to pull some cards for you for your general spread from my dragon deck. And let's take a look and see what Taurus has going on for this week. The Sun card's the first one that comes up. If you want to look at the cards picture in picture, join me on my YouTube, Karma on Deck, Psychic. So the first thing that comes up is the Sun card. So it's summer, so it could be just that, but let's take a look and see. Same card, same spot. I know I shuffled these. Queen of Swords, which is walking away from something that doesn't serve you with leadership, setting your boundaries. The Magician, dead center. Then the Eight of Cups and the Lover's card. So this is you struggling a little bit, Taurus. This is you trying to find your balance in a power struggle around you and with other individuals. Because the Lover's card, right? The one that everybody thinks they should get. But the Lover's card's our challenge. It's our duality. It's two things coming together. I've never felt as if this card looked positive from the outside. But we have the yin-yang, which is balance. So as strong as you are, as strong as the opposition will be. What you resist persists, right? So this card has to do with that duality and decision making. You also have the Eight of Cups, which is our card for the speed of things moving, emotionally especially. You have a bunch of cards for conflict a little bit that tell me that you've already made decisions in regards to this situation so that you've already kind of walked away from them. I can tell you that at work, though, toward the end of the week, and likely a thread that's been going on for a while, is a little bit of tension. We have the Judgment card and the Five of Swords. So Judgment, tension, and judgment. I mean, it's pretty easy to look at. And then the Five of Swords, which is conflict. These are cross swords, individuals coming together, likely a group having a situation where they're feeling as if, their point is right. We also see for some of you that you might be changing jobs or looking for a new location, or maybe even switching offices or changing. We have the Death card in play. Now, the Death card isn't terrible. The Death card talks about transformation. So it doesn't mean you're leaving your job, but this situation is going to transform itself. And this argument is going to be the catalyst that makes it happen. So don't look at an argument as being a bad thing or a conflict being totally terrible, because what's true is conflict sometimes brings things up to the surface that we were, beforehand kind of hiding or ignoring. The only thing that I would have to say, Taurus, is you have the Knight of Swords, and that's our card for short temper. So if you have a temper, or you're feeling as if you're going to lose your edge or lose it on someone, that's that card for that. It's my road rage card, right? So here's the thing about all of this. We have the King of Swords and the Star card side by side. The King of Swords is for victory. You've won the war, now you must win the peace. So if you go in and pitch for the supervisor position and it's kind of competitive and you get it, well, now you still have work to do. So that's kind of an example that I would use for that. Or even winning in the divorce. Now you got to sell the house that you got your half of or whatever. But this definitely has to do with winning. But winning isn't always perfect. It's depending on how you get there. And the Queen of Swords is walking away from a dead tree. And the Death card, there's a lot of changes that are going on for you here. None of this has to do with love, though. I can tell you that. There's not like a lot of cups. There's only one in all 10 cards here, which is about like things moving quickly emotionally. But this isn't a relationship kind of divide or a relationship transformation. This is something that feels a little bit more like your decision-making processes. I'm also seeing the Nine of Swords, which is probably part of the problem, right? This Nine of Swords is you feeling as if you're a ghost. So perhaps this situation where you're working toward having your voice heard, it hasn't been. So sometimes we have to shout, right? Or for some of us, it's cussing. You know what? And then you kind of get it in because somebody's not listening. I remember when I was a paramedic, People would say, I don't know how you cuss them out like that, and then they're chill with you, and it's because, well, sometimes that's the only way they're listening. I really wish we could have gone back to the slap of the face when someone's hysterical, but that's illegal, I heard. Just kidding. Anyway, so this Nine of Swords is the card for not feeling as if your voice is being heard, and that might be causing some frustration in this situation. And so you have hope for it to change into something more positive. However, I do see some things for you where you're wanting to put money toward a project, which is the Page of Coins. You have some money and you're trying to decide what it is you're going to navigate, or how you're going to navigate, and what you are going to do with it. I think that's most what your general spread has to say, but I'd like to add, I was going to say I'd like to say, and I'm the only one talking. So we have the Star card, which is hope, and then we have the Judgment card, which is stress. So you're not sure whether you want to hope or stress out here. So let's pull some cards for you from the Mystic Dreamer and see what your moon reading is. If you're not aware of what your sun, moon, and rising is, you would watch your Taurus for your rising, and your sun sign, and your moon is how you think and feel. So if you don't know that's you, just stick around anyway, because it can apply. I am going to talk about some of the things that are going on around Karma on Deck. We have the Women's Body Positivity Retreat on October 10th. That date is finally set. You can find information and purchase your enrollment on the website. There's also the Tarot 101 class that's beginning 2 Tuesdays from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 more weeks. And book your one-on-one karmaondeck.com to flesh out some more of this information if you feel inspired to do so. All right, here we go, Taurus. This is your moon reading. Taurus. Faith, first thing that comes up for Taurus, and that Five of Wands. Okay, listen. Okay, so the Five of Pentacles has to do with losing faith in something or lacking confidence in it. You have the Ten of Cups, so you've been pretending for quite a while. Ten of Cups I call Disneyland. Remember, Disneyland's false fronts, a script, fantasy, and a story, right? None of it's real. However, we put that perfect face on so that people don't get too close to what's really going on with us. And we're really feeling kind of messed up about this situation. We have the Five of Pentacles, which is faith. So this door is open to the church. It's a church, and they're having like very little faith about what this can provide for them. So one's walking on by and one's sitting in front of it going, God's not there, or charity doesn't exist, or love doesn't exist. And so this card really is all about that expression of frustration where you're feeling like there's nothing there for me. Next to that, we have the Five of Wands, and that's our card for conflict, that group conflict we were talking about. So I feel like that's riding in the back of your brain. King of Wands, leadership, Ten of Cups, that false front, right? Now, Ten of Cups does have to do with perfection, but what I'd like to suggest is perfection doesn't exist. We can strive for excellence, but never perfection. Anytime we set ourselves up to be the Stepford family or the perfect little, little home, I use Stepfords, but it has a negative connotation. But if you want to be the Leave It to Beaver perfect little family, we all know that behind closed doors it's a little different and nobody's perfect. So we can strive for excellence, yet not perfection. However, we're putting out this perfect figure, right? Look at me, I'm doing fine. Nobody likes platitudes. Nobody wants to hear the whole story either, because we know some people can get to drama, but we do want to know what's going on with our friends and be intimate with, what's going on with them so we can know how to support them better. Again, we have the Star card. It's interesting to me how Taurus has got both these kind of themes within their general spread and their moon reading. I can say that you have the Queen of Swords. That is a major to the card that you had, which was the Knight of Swords earlier, which is losing your temper. So if you have unexpressed emotions, or if you have a situation like somebody stealing your lunch out of the refrigerator and finally you lose it because you want to punch the guy or bounce him off the door of the fridge because you know what? There can be a little bit of that energy where you're feeling as if it's time to lash out. And again, you've got the Queen of Wands for your image and how things are looking. The remainder of this reading is about fatigue. Give yourself some rest. We have the Three of Wands, watching things. You're watching this scenario to see if anything's going to change. You're watching to see if you're going to have some, what the tide is going to look like and how things are going to shift for you. You have King of Swords, Emperors. I feel like you've got a lot of duality going on with you. One minute you want to be emotional and decisive, and the other minute, you want to nurture. We do have the underlying tone, which is the Emperor, and Emperors are very direct and forward. So perhaps there's this undertone for you, Taurus, where you need to take leadership in some of these situations that are in front of you instead of allowing them to happen to you. So instead of waiting for the ship to come in, maybe you should hire one to show up, like call the Uber. You can't get in it unless you call them. So we do say, I can say, like I was mentioning a minute ago, the Nine of Wands, which is our card for fatigue. This is like doing things over and over. Not exactly like the Nine of Pentacles or Eight of Pentacles where it's repetition and redundancy. This is having too much to do and actually being exhausted and feeling fatigued. So allow yourself extra time this week, knowing that you're already overtired, to give back to your body whatever that needs. If you're not eating on schedule, if you're not getting a good sleep schedule, pay attention to some of those details and give yourself that gift. We also have the Justice card, which is our karma card. So karma is in play. So consequences of some kind or another. Consequences don't have to be bad. Like you turn the AC down and it gets cold, that's a consequence. So let's not make our terms like literal and punitive here. I am going to pull a card for you from Divination of the Ancients. And then I think I'm going to be done for the night. I always get a little loopy. Maybe I'll come in and do a live. What do you guys think of that? Should I do some question and answer lives tonight? I am going to pull a card from Divination of the Ancients and see what your card is for focus for this week. Let me know in the comments if you feel I should come back on in a few minutes and do some Q&As. Focus! So your card right here is arrow. So where is it you're putting your focus, Taurus? You know, whatever you focus on will grow. And so paying attention to positivity or negativity, what is it that you're in alignment with, and where is it that you want to go? It does do us no good to pull the arrow back and let it go if we're not looking where it's going. So this is an opportunity for you to take a focus, look a little closer at where you're going, and make some plans. That's what I've been spending the day doing, is scheduling and planning. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. Let me know if you feel like you're ready to hear some Q&A, and I might pop back on a little later, do some of that for y'all. Love and light.